Hi everyone, it's Nicole here today for Jillibean Soup. Today we're all going to talk about using B-sides of the paper. Using a silhouette cut file is a really great way to incorporate B-sides of a pattern paper onto your layout. I've chosen this one here by Jillibean Soup in the Silhouette store. It's a really great fall floral that you can find. So what I've done is I've gone through my stash, my scrap pile actually, and just picked through and found some of my favorite B-side papers that would be great for a fall layout. I've got my photo matted, and I'm just going to add some foam adhesive to the back of that for later on. I have my die cut shape placed out where I want it, and so now I'm going to use the leftover bits from inside that silhouette shape to just go around and use over top of the B-sides of this pattern paper. I'm going to trim around, leaving probably about an eighth, just a little bit more than an eighth of an inch gap around the outside to the different leaves within this floral frame. So because each of the leaves in the floral frame has two of each kind of leaf, I'm going to use the two different leaves in the same color. So you can see here I have that gold and yellow kind of color for this sort of leaf. I'm going to do this oak leaf here in this red wood grain, and then I'm going to use some other colors for the smaller leaves. So again, just holding down the piece that was left over from the silhouette cut over top of the B side of the pattern paper, and just trim with your scissors all the way around is a great way to kind of fill in that design. B-sides are great because they have usually a lighter pattern, not such a busy pattern, so filling in a design like this, it's really great. Sometimes when you fill in a cut file with a more busy pattern paper, it gets a little bit too much of a busy look. So some of these B-sides are perfect for a design such as this. So now that I have all my leaf shapes cut out, I'm just going to go ahead and I use a dot runner adhesive behind on the back side of the cut file, and I'm just going to place that pattern paper inside to fill in that shape. So dot adhesive works really great because you can rub it off your work surface, anything that's left over, and it doesn't cause a lot of damage to the back of the thinly cut file. Sometimes you have to go around once your papers are in place to kind of trim off any excess, and depending how you've gone around your cut file, just to make sure that everything's kind of lined up and nothing is overlapping the outer white edge. So now that I have that done, I'm going to add some foam squares to the back of the cut design. I really want to have that kind of pop off my page when I'm done. It's not totally necessary, but I just kind of like that look. It's a really great way to add some subtle dimension too. So you can see how easy it is just to take those B-side pattern papers and fill in the design. As much as it looks great on its own, I did want to add a little bit more texture to this page, so I decided to take some watercolor markers, and I'm just trying to choose some colors right now that go with these pattern papers, and then I'm going to add some watercolor behind those B-side pattern papers. So I think I have a few colors here that I like that will work well. I'm just going to line my design kind of in place, think of where I want my photo, and then I'm going to go ahead and use just a pencil to trace really messy, actually, not even very proper, just around those leaf designs, just so I know where I'm going to do my watercoloring afterwards. So you can kind of see a little bit there on the white cardstock, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to match up my colors with the colors of those B-side pattern papers. So I'm using my watercolor markers here, and I'm not being very heavy-handed because I just want to have the outline. I don't need to do the whole inside of the design, I just want the outline to show anyway. So I'm adding just a small amount. That way my paper is not going to warp, and I'll have my nice watercolor effect. So I'm just going to do each color separately and let it dry. And then I've decided I wanted to add a little bit more dimension, so I'm just taking those same markers and just adding some splatters to the background of the page. So I'm kind of doing like the reddish one in the reddish area, the green and the teal in their areas, just around that circular motion, just to kind of get rid of some of that white in the background. Now I'm going to dab off all the excess paint, and then I'm going to go ahead and just place my cut file down on the page. Before I do that, I decided I wanted to add a little bit of stitching just around that circle. Even though the cut file is going to cover up most of this, you're still going to be able to see a little bit of stitching in the background, so I wanted to kind of add that in. And then I decided I wanted to add a little bit of stitching around the outer edge of the white cardstock background. So I've gone ahead and done that before I stick down my cut file here. So now I'm going to take all of the foam backing off, and then I'm going to line it up over top of those images that were watercolored and make sure that I have everything lined up perfectly. I am trying to erase a little bit with my eraser, but to be honest, you don't really need to, and not a lot of my pencil lines came off anyway. And then I decided some of the watercolor was a little bit too harsh and I wanted to kind of soften up the edges. So I just took some water on a paintbrush here, and I'm just kind of going back in over top of the watercolor areas, and you can see that some of the paint is still able to draw it out. So it just kind of softens the edges of that watercolor look, and it's not quite so harsh. Okay, so now that I have that done, I'm getting some things ready. I'm going to get my photo stuck down. I did also take a water brush earlier, and you can see I added some of that same kind of a peachy yellow paint there below my photo. And I felt like this page needed a little bit of black because I really wanted to use these black foam stickers. I love these foam stickers. These ones are my favorite. I believe these are from the Garden Harvest collection. So I'm going to use this. It just sticks so nicely onto your paper. And I'm going to take the words "you" off of the back side of this design and add that to my page. Now I wanted to add a few more elements in around my leaf design, so I decided to grab some of these enamel stickers, and I'm going to use those in the same kind of color groupings all around the outside of the floral ring. These really accompany the B-sides of the pattern paper as well, and they match the colors quite nicely. I have a couple different here. One is from the Garden Harvest and one is from the, what is the second one called? Oh my gosh, I can't think right now. It's from the Spoonful of Soul collection. And so those two colors really match the colors from the B-sides that I chose. And now I'm just going to add a piece of washi tape here from one of the washi sheets and just add a little bit more foam adhesive in behind my photo just to give it a little bit more dimension. So I really love how the B-sides complement a cut file like this. It's really easy to fill in a background with those subtle patterns. They're a great way to add some color and texture to these cut files. And it's the simplest way to fill in a background without not having it be too overborne with pattern. So I highly recommend you give this a try, and I hope you share it with us on our Facebook page. I'll see you again soon on the Jillibean Soup blog. Bye-bye.